We're back at Weed, Wine, and Wheat Thins. I'm your host, Tony Adiami. We're here today with Emily O'Neill, Ash Seth, and Gaubrey Posard, and we're out in this beautiful, beautiful field. How are you guys doing today?
Great.
Super great. Super great. Yeah. Great. Today, we're going to be talking about some really cool topics, picking out of the bowl, as we always do. But first, let's go through everyone's selections. We have two wonderful J's rolled by Nelson and Emily. Rosie, let's see, Cupcake Vineyards, thank you for your help, picked by Gaubrey Posard, and a beautiful white Noble Vines for us three. And as well, you picked the Rosé. And we have our nice cheese and our cracker platter with some gluten-free crackers to accommodate all of our guests. We're very accommodating here.
So accommodating.
Who wants to light the J? Me. Lovely.
I want to do it.
All right, who wants to pick the first topic out of the bowl?
Marco.
Nose goes. Nose goes?
Nose goes.
Marco. You said Marco. That's not
what
that
is
word.
that?
Polo
and nose goes.
Oh, for those who are tuning in and don't know smoking lingo, if you ever have the J and you want to know where to pass it, you say
Marco.
And then whoever says
Polo
gets the J first.
There you go. Hey.
Learning some facts here on the show. Oh wait, we have to explain the origin of Rosie's.
Oh, that's true.
Okay, so we're called Rosie's bitches, and it has a long origin story, but we can just tell it succinctly.
So sometime around sophomore year, an ex-rugby team captain gave me a jeeb. It was beautiful.
Can you explain what a jeeb is to the audience?
It was blue. A jeeb is a gravity bong, but it wasn't your normal gravity bong. It was a piece. Think of an accordion style. Thinking of an accordion style little. Yeah, wow. I wish I could link below sort of
Maybe
situation.
I'll like
We got gifted that bong. It was called Rosie, and it became one of us. She became one of us.
She became our leader, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because then it became a thing where it was like, who wants to smoke Rosie? And then we became Rosie's bitch because it was like, Rosie's there, then we're going, like we hear the call. And also Rosie the Riveter because feminism. So, and there's this little gal, you know?
Yeah.
This little gal.
You know.
With that backstory.
I already
And now
picked
you know.
one.
Oh, she already picked one. Shit. Okay.
Casual sex.
Yay! Another
Good
sex.
morning.
Yay! We haven't talked about sex enough on this show yet. Who wants to start?
Where do we want to start?
Yeah,
where
where
do
do
you
you want to
start?
start? What is your guys' relationship with casual sex? Because I've actually been less into it as I've grown older. Because before I was like, oh yeah, so casual, so fun. And then I was like, it's kind of less fun when it's casual unless it's with someone that it's fun to be with. So like that's sort of where I transition and I think where I'm at right now.
But what if it's like casual, but also someone who's fun to be with?
Does casual sex include like a one-time hookup? That's casual sex? Or is casual sex when you're having consistent sex with someone but you're not calling it a relationship?
I think casual sex
That's
includes a
that's
one-time
iffy.
hookup.
Consistent
It
is
can be consistent
yeah.
and casual, though.
Can it though? I mean,
Oh.
I know.
Oh, okay.
I can.
Okay.
I'm not good at that.
Emily is our resident
Romantic.
romantic.
I wasn't
romantic. That's probably the best way to put it. Yeah, like for me, it goes back to like my first time having sex and that not being a romantic thing at all. So like my relationship with it has been like strictly in another vein where like I don't automatically think romantic. I honestly think casual first until I have like a reason to think it's romantic.
I understand that your default is just like casual, but that's
So
super
is that like what
understandable.
you want, or is that just like what happens? Like, you know, like it's like,
There are sometimes when I want it, post breakup. That's what I wanted. Just like a couple one nights. Swipe him under the rug. Don't think about him again. Yeah. But there's definitely like a point I remember of like freshman year when I just like had a casual night and I was like, yeah, I'm not feeling this that much anymore.
I think it definitely graduates from like weird, because then you like see them or see their friends and it's like versus like someone you hang out with or someone you chill with and you have casual sex with them and it's way chiller after.
I do feel like there was a time though, like when I was younger and like I felt really empowered, like having like a one night thing. It would be like, oh, what's your name? Okay, like maybe I'll say
It's like a
that was fun.
Yeah. Be like, okay, when are you leaving? It is kind of nice when the
like
roles. Okay, because you think like the media paints like the guy's always like, oh yeah, this girl like wouldn't leave. Yeah, like the guy's the player and the girl. I think we have some potentially player girls.
Yes.
It happened last night. It happened last night.
What?
You gotta kick people out sometimes. When you need your sleep, it needs to happen.
Ash had to get ready for the show. She's like, you need to go. I need my beauty sleep. I'm going to be on TV tomorrow.
Yeah. Sometimes
that's a power
sleep
move.
takes priority.
Can you leave? I'm going to be on TV tomorrow. Like,
Sometimes it just feels good.
bye. I mean, when you want it, it's nice to have it. And when you don't want it, you usually look, because you kind of get yourselves into the situations in which you would have casual sex. Like, you sort of know if you're down for it, like, what to do for that to happen, versus if you're more looking for something, like, relationship-y, like, you know not to do the casual
behave
sex things.
differently,
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like when Emily was like saying like, oh, someone you're consistently sleeping with, but it's casual, like, it's hard to like say that thing can stay like at a certain point, nothing like can stay casual.
You'll inevitably get closer with the person.
FWF. We have to talk about FWF. We have to talk about FWF. Okay, FWF is FWF. And it's friends who fuck, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it's friends who fuck. And what it means is when you fuck your friends, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Like
It's like a great dynamic.
it's a great dynamic. And it's fun because you're friends, but then it's fun because comfortable sex. Yeah, 'cause sex
Yeah, you
is
can have
fun.
like conversation during it. Like
You're
you can play.
laughing.
Like I can be like,
Yeah,
hey,
it's,
can
like,
I just like
fun.
take a quick rip? Is that okay? Like, you're not offended at all. You're not. I mean, they don't get. They're less likely to get offended because you know
There's not
they're.
like, so do you smoke?
Yeah.
Or, like, do you care if I smoke?
There's a lot less
comfort.
There's a lot less questions. You're not questioning as many things because you know a lot of it. Even if the sex is a new territory, most of the other things aren't. So it's like way nicer to explore one new territory at a time versus like a random stranger. It's like, where are you from? Like, do you have a family? Like, like just don't even know any of those things. That's always what I wonder when I'm having sex with someone. This is
Whoa.
What is your background?
I'm kidding. Oh my God.
Where are you from? What is your name?
Ash, your turn.
Get in there.
I'm excited. Dating apps. Ooh.
Oh, this kind of goes into the casual sex thing.
It does. They're related.
Yeah, but I have strong opinions.
Okay,
Is
go
everybody
start.
on a
Please
dating
Yeah,
start.
more so with Ash too than you guys. Like, go ahead.
I think my strong opinion against them comes from also having never engaged with dating apps, but like
By never engaged, you mean you've never used?
I've never used them.
Got it.
But from an so I'm sort of, you know, I am speaking from an outsider perspective. I don't know if that can replace just going out and meeting people. Like, why having to create a profile, having to have
It's
an
not
image,
a
having
replacement.
like
It's
having
a
to, like,
supplement or
Yeah.
a complement.
Agreed.
Yeah.
If you use it the right way.
Yeah.
I've never used.
can be
I've
like a
never just sat
catalyst.
inside on Tinder instead of going to a bar. I've always chosen to go to the bar, but like
Right.
I'm on Tinder at like a Tuesday. I mean, I don't use Tinder anymore, but like when the phases in which I do use, they're very specific phases.
Yeah.
For example, once again, after a breakup, you're like, okay, let me just get some validation and then maybe act on some of those validations.
I don't even know if I like take it like far enough to be like, oh, I philosophically disagree with this. I just like, even like the times that I've gotten close to being like, oh, like now is the time in my life that like I Tinder. I just can't get myself to do it. I'm like, it just feels weird. And like, it feels super judgy. I don't know.
I got it with you first freshman summer.
Yeah.
We like.
But then it was like the joke
She,
while
like,
we were
she called
high,
it.
like,
It was a
oh, like,
joke.
Tinder. And then the next day I was like, yeah, I'm over it. And she's like, oh no, I'm talking to like 6 people.
Yeah, we definitely had a different experience where I was like, oh, this is so funny, let's go on. You're like, Tony, this is your 7th time on tonight. Like, what point does it stop being funny?
I don't know. I don't remember when I started using dating apps. It was a while ago. My sister always used them.
Yeah.
My sister had OkCupid. Yeah. And so she would just talk to me about them and like, I don't know.
Normalize
Like, this
it,
is exactly. And so I was like, this is intriguing. I'll do it. Like my most of like success, I guess, from dating apps is like the catalyst. As like a catalyst, like I've already met the person or like have
Ooh,
seen
that's
the
a big
person.
one.
It's like the guarantee that you're down.
Yeah, and then it's kind of like,
That's so
oh,
real,
we're
though.
both like, yeah, we're both down.
Yeah.
Basically. And so then when you see them, it's just like, this is so much easier now to go up and have this happen. So
I've had this argument be created so many times for Tinder, and I'm just like, that.
it's
it
nice as
does
like a college
make sense.
campus.
It's like how you get to whiffing. Or you
Yes.
don't really also
No,
it's not
yeah.
usually your friends.
Overrated.
It's not usually friends because
after
it's
this
more like
year.
okay, no, that's
After this
AWFing,
year.
acquaintances who fuck. If you
Oh my
use
god, at this point,
Tinder's
we're
like,
moving out.
There's
There's 3 categories.
yeah, that is, yeah. Because you're like, you sort of know each other, but like not enough for any interest to have come organically. So you sort of like like catalyst the interaction a little bit with like a little swipe.
We have Alf, Fwiff, and Swift.
What's Swift?
Strangers who fuck.
Oh yes,
That's the
three
lotion.
categories of sex: Quiff, Alf, and Swift.
So like the next time someone's like, "Oh, I had sex last night," it can be like,
Which
"How was
one?
it?" Yeah.
Which one? Because like that helps you know what starter questions to go. Okay. Next topic.
Yeah,
Gooby.
Killed that one.
We killed that one.
Oh man.
Say it for the
Talk
room.
to it? Okay. I picked out toxic femininity, which I feel like is controversial. I'm ready.
No, yeah,
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Who
Probably
wants to
heard.
define it?
Yeah, what is toxic femininity?
Is there a real definition though? Because it's not like an accepted term, and so there therefore isn't like a universally accepted definition. I don't think, but like I think it's more like an argument that some expressions of femininity are counter-effective to women's empowerment. Is how I interpret it.
Who, and we may not know this, so we can make a guess, but who do we think made this term? People who identify as male or female? Because if it's like one of the things where like I say Black Lives Matter, so you say all lives matter, that's different. Because like who's to say what's empowering? Some people have super strong opinions about pole dancing, but a lot of pole dancers are like, no, I feel great.
I don't know, because I could super understand from like a female perspective of not feeling like you're fitting like the new woman that's like you have to work all the time, and like there's probably some people that like struggle, like don't feel like it's socially appropriate to say that like they just want to be a mom or like something like that, because it's like not what like all this work was for, like in a way.
But if you just want to be a mom,
Exactly.
the
and I
mom's the
think
hardest
that's-
fucking job in the
yeah.
world. I love my mom. Like, Mom, thank you.
I love you.
Like, holy shit.
I don't want to address my mom right now. We talked about some other stuff.
Oh yeah, but yeah, like, so who's to say? Like, what falls? I feel like when you think of toxic masculinity, like, there's some agreed upon, like, behaviors or like some sort of group of things that people can often attribute to it. People may like disagree on some, but for example, but I'm like, yeah, like what?
Can someone give me an example of what toxic femininity might look like?
Like if you were to like see a girl like who you would interpret as like being like ditzy and like high-pitched voice and something like that, you could call that toxic femininity, because you're like, oh, she's making herself seem small so that like guys talk to, you know, like you could interpret it like that.
Interesting.
But there's also a way that like this girl feels like she's using that voice because that's how she's reclaiming her sexuality or like femininity. Like you can reclaim pretty much, I think, anything you want, which is like the argument with pole dancing, that it's like can be very objectifying to women, but there's some women who find it super empowering to be pole dancing. So like it's just like different.
So let me ask one question. Do we think it's a thing? Because I don't think we've said that yet. I think we're just talking about the concept that has been presented into the world by someone. But like, do we think it's a thing, even if we can't exactly put what's in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the definition of toxic masculinity?
You know it when you see it.
So trying
So
to
like trying to
it's sort of
define
like
toxic
pushing-
femininity doesn't make sense either.
No, I feel like
But I think it exists.
there's definitely like I could read a definition of toxic
Yeah,
masculinity
yeah.
and be like, oh, that's correct.
Can we find one?
It's sort of, I was gonna say,
Look at
I
that.
feel like it's
We
sort of
do.
like
I feel
pushing
like-
your
I
masculinity.
think that the reason that's an easier one to do is because men are have historically been treated as a dominant group. Like women have been a minority group in like our rights and etc. and like how we're treated. So like men, because they already have power and then they abuse that power, like the power like sort of like inherently given to them, and like by abuse it, like I don't want to like misconstrue that. Do you want to read the definition?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In psychology, toxic masculinity refers to traditional cultural masculine norms that can be harmful to men, women, and society overall. This concept of toxic masculinity is not intended to demonize men or male attributes, but rather to emphasize the harmful effects of conformity to certain traditional masculine ideal behaviors, such as dominance, self-reliance, and competition.
That was far more academic than
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn,
Okay,
we're
reassess,
learning. We are getting
reassess.
learned right here.
Reassess.
This just in. Elijah just texted me, yes, there is toxic femininity.
Thank you, Elijah. We need a devil advocates here.
All right, I'm going to read this thing that's written in large, bold text.
Okay.
It is a way for women to exercise violence in seekier ways that are more overt violent tactics that are used by men via passive aggression, person-to-person manipulation, and systemic manipulation of victim complexes and protected identities, and funneling of persons to violence by its counterpart, toxic masculinity.
I'm not sure if that's what I thought about it
Yeah, maybe.
in that way. I guess
I can see that.
But like
it's
the whole
sort of like
violence,
abusing the like.
The role we've been given. in
Yeah,
society.
it's almost like abusing the roles we've been put into.
Yeah. And like
Instead
using
of
it
challenging
to
them.
like
manipulate.
maliciously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sort of seems like just like malicious intent. Like since
It
women.
doesn't seem like a thing though. Like it's never like that calculated. Or I don't think
It may
is,
not be
right?
calculated, but it may like.
Just the way someone is, like.
Okay, maybe one example, and like this could be pushing the envelope, but maybe one example is people who make fake sexual assault claims.
But that's such like a small like toxic
Oh,
masculinity
yeah.
is like dominating.
In this whole conversation, I will say that the fact that we like are still even defining toxic femininity, it is a way rarer thing than
Yeah.
toxic masculinity. That should be said right
I
off
think
the
I had a
bat.
super wrong idea what toxic femininity was.
Me
then.
too. Like I don't think I thought
definitely.
it was this, but with this definition, like, yeah, because like
This is
that's
interesting,
that's
though.
not what
So
I
wait,
thought.
What did you guys think toxic masculinity was before this?
I think I see it a lot in the bro stereotype.
I think I just thought of it as like hyper like aggression of
Feminine.
masculine traits,
Oh.
like toxic
super
masculinity.
dominating and like someone who like if I was answering
Oh.
a question then would like say the same thing over me.
Like mansplaining.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
just like not like calling on women and on audience, like just like there's a lot of ways that it can be behaviorally enacted. I think society gives men a lot of room to speak and do, and it's like not realizing that sharing space is good and like sort of like hyper acting on the space you're given in a way that even more perpetuates that men get more space and like instead of, you know what I mean, like
Like they're trying to be over dominant.
Yes,
That sounds like you're
yes.
trying to attribute masculinity to femininity and then making that type of femininity toxic.
What do you mean?
this
No, it's-
definition
Yeah.
of toxic femininity.
Yes.
I don't think that means dominance though.
No. What you? I'm just confusing myself, and I'm getting more high because we're now on.
I mean, I don't know if we have any ideas on it right now because we really are just learning so much. I feel like you got to process when you learn things. But also, we only read one website. So
And
like,
Yeah.
one line of one
Yeah.
I was like want to know like
website.
the implications of this definition. Like
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. My turn to pick a topic.
Much to learn.
What?
Much to learn.
Much to learn. There's always so much to learn.
about.
Breakups! Woo!
Really? Wow.
Yeah, we just totally switched. When did we ever wooed?
I don't know what you did just then.
I may just cut that because we are not a wooing
You
group,
should
and I don't want that.
definitely cut that.
I don't want that.
Definitely
This
cut
to be
that.
misconstrued. Raise your hand if you like breakups.
Yeah, woo!
Only when they're for the best.
I mean long
I
term
mean,
sure.
what? Yeah, in the moment, it's.
There's a reason
I guess
I'm not
if you're
dating them
breaking up
now.
with them, and that's like liberating for you.
I don't know. You just like learn a lot about yourself. You just like. This is gonna sound so fucking cliche, but you sort of, in a way, rediscover yourself. You know.
A relationship where you have to break up, that's because you've tied yourself to the person, so you have to like break that tie.
Yeah.
You don't go back to where you were before the relationship, right? You've changed, right?
Sometimes
Have
a
you-
lot of time can go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure have changed. Not just because I'm dating someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a totally different thing to experience life with another person. And like that's essentially what you're doing in a relationship. You're choosing to spend all of the time that you would
A lot of-
otherwise
yeah.
spend for yourself. You're
Yeah.
spending with
With
them.
another person.
And so you have to unlearn that and relearn how and what you want to do with your time. Yeah, I went through a breakup about 3 months ago.
Fuck.
We're talking about it.
No, yeah.
So I'm in it, and it's like, it's an interesting process of happiness and sadness.
Yeah, there is
No, keep going,
there
keep
is
going.
moments of like liberation, holy shit, like when you break up, that's because it sort of turned sour. Like, like there was like a lot of good, a lot of bad, like whatever, but it wasn't worth it. So there's moments when like you're not dealing with that sour shit that you're like, holy
is great.
liberation,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
feather off my like feather, fucking weight, 100 pounds of
Feather off my
feathers
back.
off my back, like feels fucking nice. And then there's other times when
It's a
you're
lot of
like
clarity.
alone at night, you had a little to drink, and you're like, I could cuddle hard right now,
Yeah.
and like my bitch not here because
That's
we
some
broke
real
up. And then you might call them, they may come over. That happens for 5 months, and then you
Yeah.
finally. Well, I mean, I don't know. That's just my experience. But yeah, hypothetically, you know, that shit's good and bad.
Life
Yeah.
happens.
Ultimately good, because you should end up with who you're gonna end up with. If that's not the person, save yourself some time and just cut it off.
Hard decision to make always. Like,
Oh,
like,
always.
Yeah.
If
Should we talk about hooking up with exes?
No. Oh, she just shot
Emily,
that.
it sounds like you want to talk about hooking up with exes.
That would be targeted.
Not everybody though. So is it really targeted? No.
True.
What is your philosophy on it?
My philosophy is that sex complicates everything.
That is Emily's
That
philosophy.
is like, okay, I feel like I've heard the opposite philosophy though.
What?
Never mind, I'm not going to get into
Sex
this right
simplifies everything.
It
Gabby
doesn't.
hasn't.
Simplifies?
I
I don't think sex has ever simplified anything.
No.
now. But sex with your ex is sometimes necessary.
It's sometimes
No, but
necessary.
it's just such a weird pour. Why is it? Oh,
I
just
think
like
in
for
the
closure.
right context, yeah, I can get behind that. But in general, I
Behind
think
or
that
in front?
consistently.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
sorry.
Wow.
You set me up.
You're right.
Sometimes it's gotta happen, and closure and shit, and yeah, here we are. Final thoughts,
Yeah,
closing
breeze
thoughts.
right on over.
Yeah, I just glaze the surface, just skim.
What about you, Gooby?
I feel like it super depends on how you feel after it happened. Like, I think it just will happen. And then, I don't know, you can't play fake relationship though, I think.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because, like, you don't have, like, the real weight of an actual relationship, and that's just a waste of time.
And you
real
still
shit.
you don't have the real
'Cause you'll
weight,
get
but you
there
have like
again,
the
you know the
emotional weight,
problems.
where
Yeah.
you know exactly how to fit into the roles. Like you know, it's almost like so easy, but it's like
Crazy how much that, like, we can, like, excuse, like, change. You know, or, like, not even excuse change, but, like, say, like, oh no, things are going to be different, like, this time. So many times.
so many times, and you can like really believe you're out of it. You're like, oh yeah, I'm doing so good now, like blah blah, and then you just get a little chance to go back in, and you're like, like oh shit, and you wake up the next morning, you're like, oh wow, that was super easy, and then you're like, not gonna do it again next time, like, cause it's just like you have those, you've worn those shoes already. You always choose the
Yeah.
shoes you've worn. The new
They're
shoes give you
comfortable, they're
blisters.
worn in.
Yeah, so like it's so easy to slip on that pair of flats and just fucking go downtown and just you all know your shit. You're like, and it's
It's
just
not
so
gonna be
easy.
like a Monday though. You're gonna be drunk and like.
Yeah, it's easier.
You sort of tell yourself you can like let go of the emotional and like focus on the physical, but no.
And in reality, if you're
Takes
back
time.
there, especially if you have other physical options, if you're back there, you're still emotionally in it. Because or else you, yeah.
Or else you wouldn't be there.
Or else you wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be there, especially if you have another physical
Finger
source.
This
You
returns to
wouldn't be
casual
there.
sex. This returns to casual sex
And we're
versus.
back.
Is it casual if it's
Casual
with
sex
your
versus
Okay,
ex.
last question to round it up.
Oh.
Is it casual if it's with your ex?
No.
I think inherently never.
Never.
Never. I'm putting my
Boil down.
finger down on the table. That's when I really mean something.
I mean, like, things could not be casual, but also things could be casual. Like if you think they can be casual,
No, they can't.
I
just like
You
He
love
really
that
disagrees.
person, and a part of
Can be
you
casual.
fundamentally still loves them.
yeah, but like love can be casual.
No.
Cat.
I love you.
That's
you
casual.
That's
know,
an
like,
oxymoron.
I was
That's
sick,
not how that
sex.
works.
And I'm gonna go have lunch with my friends. You know,
Yeah, but you love
Yeah.
that person.
But like,
I just think there's definite
You
like
can
short
do it
periods of time
casually,
that it
but
can
I don't.
be-
Yes.
I think you can try to play the casual. You're like, oh yeah, we're not gonna cuddle. We're not gonna. You can like try to pan it off as casually as you want to, behaviorally. But I feel just like
I was gonna say
inherently.
the time that it really worked was when it was circumstantial because it was with high school boyfriend, and so I feel like if like you know you have to leave,
Got it.
it's just like
Yeah.
it's gonna be casual. It's been a
But
long
why are you
time,
hooking
I
up
know.
in the first place?
Just
Like
sex
you're bored
feels
and no
good.
one's home.
Garbage parents. Now you know when no one's.
No one's home, and she's like, get the fuck
Parents are
over.
gone. Pizza rolls in the oven. Pizza rolls in the oven. Let's go. Well, this has been a riveting episode of Weed, Wine, and Weed Thins. I'm your host, Tony Adiami. These are my friends.
So hard.
See you next week for some more shenanigans.
Can't even.
Just that. Yeah.